All right, everyone. So today we're gonna be talking about the matchup against Ember Amethyst OTK combo, and we are also gonna talk about the set 11 stuff that I think would happen to Purple Steel. There's a few new ideas that I have with Purple Steel, both keeping the mid range and playing a different version of it, a different variant or archetype for the deck. So, first, let's talk about Ember Amethyst Monstro combo, the match against it. And also, it's important to go through the Ember Amethyst mid range as well, because both of my teammates made it really hard for Purple Steel to flourish in the meta. But luckily, the share of Ember Amethyst didn't become too big from both Zan's deck and Christian's deck. So in this matchup, unfortunately, we are not favored because they're heavier on the control side of things, and as you already know, we previously discussed that mid range is not in favor against control, especially if the deck is mid range control, and both decks are very mid range controlling. So the match is quite similar against Blurple, but the difference is that Purple Yellow is running some earlier card answers to what you're doing. So first, let's talk about Ember Amethyst combo. So in this matchup, it's quite similar to Blurple. Like what I said, it has a ramp onto. It plays a 4-cost character and then a 5-cost character. Now, you might ask, is it important to run a item hate in our deck if we're trying to answer this deck? It doesn't affect the deck so much whether you get an answer for this or not, because you're not going to be running a 4 of. But if you really want to tech for it, then Benja or Pluto can be quite useful. I would say that Benja is better than Pluto in this scenario because you can use it right away to take care of the lantern. But Pluto might be a little too late for this. And those are really the two viable choices, in my opinion, for it. The beauty of Benja is it also adds a little bit of speed to your deck, so it's better into control decks in general because again you can start questing for more. So what's the difference between Blurple and Ember Amethyst Monstro combo is the most important thing. Is that Blurple wants to take you to late game. Monstro wants to take you to late game as well. But the difference between them is that if Monstro takes you to the late game, then you have no chance if they have the combo because it's an absolute way to finish the game compared to Blurple where you're still going to be dancing with them towards the late game, though you're no longer in favor. So the strategy that I have for this is against Blurple, I usually would try to contest the board early, and then when I find that opening, I start playing super aggressive. But in the beginning, you have to somewhat contest the board while gaining lore. It's a really tough matchup, but it's very doable. It's kind of like the same when it comes to Ember Amethyst Monstro combo. But the difference is that the Monstro combo has the best answer to evasives, the best removal in the current format, which means that Horseman Strikes will outvalue all of your Genie plays. Genie is pretty much dead in this matchup. Unless, of course, you have no other card to play on 4. Then you play Genie, and then they can answer it with Horseman Strikes, but that just doesn't feel good because you both didn't technically spend any resource, but Monstro combo gets the advantage because they have the ink advantage because they're up by 1 ink against you. So that's the biggest difference between the two decks, aside from the late game that I discussed. My strategy against them is to go a little faster when I'm playing um, purple steel. I want to go a little faster compared to Blurple. Against Blurple, I usually would try to somewhat contest the board, but against them, I try to go just super super fast. You can't win the evasive war against Amber Amethyst unless they draw really bad, and we never really plan for that because our plan always sticks with if they had good draws. Because if they don't, then it just feels good. We stick with the plan. I just wanted to say as well some tips and tricks that there are times where when I have the Cobra, I would just dish out the Genie and play for my Doc. Because there's really not a good spot for Genie unless you can bait out all these Horseman Strikes. My way of doing that is playing Elsa, swinging with Elsa and then another character and then trying to control the board. So they would use the Horseman Strike against Elsa. And if I see a Horseman Strike get used, then the chances for another one is quite low. Then I'll start playing my Genies. But for the most part, I try to go as fast as I can. You want to go put pressure on the board as early as you can because you want to force them to ink the combo pieces, right? The more you push, the harder it is for them. The harder it is for them to hold the combo pieces in their hand. And sometimes they will completely abandon the combo plan so they can keep up with your board. And even then, they're still in favor of the matchup, even without the combo. Because again, they just have higher quality cards compared to yours. They will just outvalue you in the long run. So you can't prolong the game. Add as much pressure as you can. Get to Cobra range and finish them off. Because once Monstro is down, we have no efficient way to answer Monstro. And if they have a second Monstro, it's basically GG. So you have to finish the game as fast as you can, force them to react to what you're doing, and make them ink or use the stuff that they would use for a combo. That's how you win this matchup. But it's a tough matchup. They're definitely heavily in favor of this matchup. Now going to the basic Amber Amethyst, it's even much harder, right? Because now you are basically playing against a better Blurple, in my opinion. Their curve is much better because it's much lower. In Monstro combo, they have a certain amount of pieces that they need to add in the deck for the combo. Now those pieces are gone and they're replaced by cards that are better in general. And that's what makes this matchup hard, is that Amber Amethyst is already hard to play against because of its mid-range control aspect to it. It's even harder now because the bad cards that completes the combo has been replaced by good cards. So play the game as if you were playing against Blurple. You have to fight for the board as well as add pressure and go fast. Those are three things that are super, super hard to do. But evasives are almost unplayable in the matchup. You can still play them. It's a risk every time you play a Genie on curve. It's a risk every time you play an evasive. Unless you were ahead, then it's fine for you to play an evasive. But if you are not ahead, you play evasive, they can easily flip it just like that, and now they're in control of the board. That's pretty much it. Sorry, I'm a bit sick from DLC Hong Kong. That's pretty much it when it comes to this matchup. There's only so much you can do. Yeah, it's a really hard one because of they have the best removal in the game, which is Horseman Strikes. And again, the Eilunwy as well makes it even harder because they have extra removals because of World's Greatest Criminal Mind. Alright, so now going to set 11. Set 11 is a little hard to predict at the moment in terms of we don't actually know what the meta is going to look like. So far, Amber Emerald is kind of like the king. It got a major upgrade with Willow, with Mulan, and with a bunch of different fun cards in general. The deck is going even faster than it already was. Luckily for us, we're a mid-range deck, and we have the tools to be able to counter this deck. So that means that we will probably run some cards that is not favorable in other matchup in order to keep up with the speed. But we do have those cards to keep up with the speed, such as Fire the Cannons, Madam Mim Skater can be good in this in the deck to answer this, and basically a lower to the ground curve against them, and we might have to go for Kaloons on this. We don't know yet. Like what I said, nothing is final. These are just some ideas. I even thought of like, okay, in order to counter this, I have to play a 1-drop and 2 1-drops and a 1-drop plus a 2-drop. And that is a hook, or hook, Rafiki hook, and then Madam Mim Elephant. Or Madam Mim Skater. That's basically my answer to it, to be able to take out the Mulans, the Daisies, and all that schmeistus. Now, I picked some cards for set 11 that I thought would be good for Purple Steel, an upgrade. And also, I was thinking about another archetype, which is either going fast mid-range, mid-grow, or aggro with the deck. Yes, aggro is a possibility now for this deck. So first, we're going to talk about what I think is good for mid-range, because that's what we've been talking about. I think gone to a 1-of this, or a 2-of at the most, can be quite good. We have enough draws. This also is a pretty good power play to establish a pretty decent body on the board early on, if you can see that the lines have a lot of draws. It's also good into going to Demona turn, and it's also good to make sure Stone by Day doesn't trigger. And it's a pretty decent body, like what I said. Number 2, we have Angela. Angela's really good. So the first time I saw this card, I didn't read the second part, the second ability, because I thought that it's Stone by Day. But apparently not. The first ability was already really good, because your characters, or the chosen character, gets +2 Challenger and also gets +2 resist until the start of your next turn. Having +2 resist to your character until the start of your next turn is Ultra Megatonic. And now you add 2 Challengers to it as well. It makes it take out pretty much anything you want, survive that trade, and survive for another turn, right? I really, really like this card. The body is not Ultra Megatonic with it, but it helps you take out another character. We think of it as like the character that you use to take out another character won't take any damage, and it basically spawned a version as if it took a damage. And that's the 2/3 version of it. That's the way I look at it. But the Ultra Megatonic part of this card is that your gargoyle characters lose Stone by Day ability. So there are many ways to use this card. We obviously try not to play this on curve unless we have to answer some early stuff for a tempo swing. Most of the time we use this after Lexington or after Demona on 4. This is also a good complement play for Demona once you have 9 ink. And just a really, really good card to play at any given point in time because of the tempo swing that it can give you. And the second ability is a pretty nice static ability. The other one is Marshmallow. Okay, we go Marshmallow and then Donald Duck. Marshmallow. I love this card. It's pretty Ultra Megatonic. It's an amazing turn 5 play into Demona. If you can get that, it's pretty much checkmate. The problem with it is an inkable. I thought of like, maybe I should just abandon all the other cards that are uninkable, that are good, and play 4 of these, so I can have 4 of these into Demona. But it's scary, because a 4 cost uninkable is already expensive for the deck. A 5 cost uninkable is even more expensive for the deck. It will force you to ink some cards that you want to play later on. But the impact of this card is quite high, because whenever this character quests, each opponent can't ready more than one of their character at the start of their next turn. They can choose who to ready, but that just gives you so much control. You can either use that to control the board, or you can use that to just race. That's what's awesome about this card. And the body as well is really good. It's a 5/5 quest for 2. Again, the only downside of this card is an inkable. If you add 4 copies of this, you kind of have to play for it. That's my thought on it. Otherwise, your opponent sometimes won't exert. So that means your 1 to 4 should be adding pressure. If you're playing for this, forcing the opponents to exert. If not, then what do you call this? It has to have a lot of speed to add pressure in the beginning. Again, forcing them to exert is what you want. Otherwise, they would just sit down there. If their bodies are big, and you play this character, it doesn't matter if they exert and they don't ready. They already won the board. They'll just figure out a way to come back after they deal with Marshmallow. But yeah, it's a scary card to run because of the uninkable 5 for purple steel. This is more likely like a Blurple card. We will see. But for the most part, I think the card has a lot of potential, and it's definitely worth to explore. I currently have a 1 of. Sometimes I go 2 of on my current purple steel deck. We will have a list later on. Now is not the time, because I want to see the meta first, how it evolves, and then we react to it. Because that's kind of like what purple steel is. It reacts to the meta. Do we go answer more aggro decks, or do we try to go faster so we can answer control decks? The next one is Donald Duck. I think this is the best item removal right now in the meta. Now the problem with this is at 5, but the body is 4/6 quest for 2. It's an amazing body. It's a great item hate card. The problem with this is if the items that are being played are for early game, then it's not very cash money. But if Chromicon is still around, this is something that you definitely want to add into your deck. It's a multi-purpose card as well, because like it can control the board. At the same time, it can add speed into whatever you're trying to do. I'm high on this Donald, depending on what the meta is. And other than that, we have Colors of the Wind. I personally think that this is a 4 of in our deck, because it's basically friends on the other side. I really, really like this card. But the problem with this is it most likely won't see a lot of play if we are against dogs. Sure, there's a higher chance of drawing more cards against dogs, because they run a lot of dual ink colors. And you also have a dual ink color. You can go up to 4. In that matchup, it's possible to go up to 4 draws. But the problem with that matchup is that draws are quite irrelevant. Card advantage is not relevant in that matchup. It's very rare that happens, because it's an aggro versus mid-range, and you are the control deck, and what you want to do is stabilize the board. Doesn't matter if you have 10 million cards in hand. If you haven't stabilized the board, the game would be over. Do you want to build a snowman is also a question mark for me. I think if I ever run this card, it would be a 1 of for my deck. Both the effects are nice, but again, it's giving your opponent a choice, and they can choose which one is in their favor. Now, I want to talk about going faster with purple steel. You either go purple steel, fast mid-range, or mid-grow, or even aggro. It's really up to you, but I'm just trying to present the idea that it's possible now. We finally got a 1 cost quest for 2. Now this card is amazing in my opinion, because of it's an evasive that quests for 2 that is 1 cost. Now there's a downside for it, and that's discarding a card. Now we don't run this in a regular purple steel. No, because you don't want to burn the cards in your hand. And you're not running like bursts of draws in your deck. Now, I would put this on an aggro or a mid-grow version of the deck. Just because it's just super, super, super fast. In order to run this card, you would need cards like Show Me More or Amethyst Chromicon, because you just need to keep on drawing and playing fast and dumping your hand. Christopher Robin is pretty decent as well. I'm not the biggest fan of this, but I'm still exploring it. But the idea of being able to play a 1/3 quest for 2 on turn 1 if you're going second is pretty nice. But also, it kind of beats the purpose of like you are in the defense if you were going first. But the beauty of it, if you're against control, is that now you have a 1/3 body that can quest for 2 on turn 1 if you were going second. And you don't have to discard a card. The next one is Lilo. Lilo is just Ultra Megatonic in the early game. It takes 2 cards to basically take her out of the board. She's very sticky on the board. I love this card. Also, Malicious, Mean, and Scary doesn't trigger her, just so you know. You need to damage her twice still in order to take her out if you use Malicious, Mean, and Scary, because Malicious, Mean, and Scary says put damage. Moving damage or putting damage doesn't mean she's taking damage, right? Dealing damage means she's taking damage. So, yeah, that's the cool part about her. The cat can take her out because of like the cat can move 2 damage to her. Anything that put or move 2 damage to her, it will take her out. But again, she's very sticky and she's very fast. I love this card. Launchpad, on the other hand, is for the Purple Steel Location fans out there. I'm a fan of Purple Steel Locations. I like locations in general because they're big, they add speed to your deck, and it also forces the opponent to exert, which means that you can get some favorable trades because the locations are a ticking time bomb. And this card just makes locations really, really, really sticky. The resist 1 when you have a location with a 5 or a 6 or an 8 willpower is quite huge. Winter Spell, again, for location version of the deck. The location version of the deck usually moves around either mid-grow or fast mid-range depending on your build, but it's a viable strategy. It's a nice strategy that can that can catch people off guard. I definitely would encourage you guys to explore it. Again, we don't know what the meta is. If Purple Steel mid-range is meta, Purple Steel Locations usually sucks because it's a really hard matchup for you. But if the match or the meta goes aggro, Purple Steel Locations is pretty good against it because of you play big locations and aggro has a hard time of dealing with it, but you also still run cards like Kaloon, John Silver, which can take out their locations, and also you have Castle Wyvern that buffs your characters in general to take out big aggro characters. But the locations are amazing because against control, you're acting for you're attacking from multiple different directions, which allows you to go around board wipe from Prince Philip or any board wipe in general, because after they play the board wipe, the location sticks there. And it's fast enough to beat control decks in general. Other than that, these are my early thoughts for Purple Steel. Again, we are basically a reactive deck. We do not know yet what the meta is going to look like. Once the meta is out, I would have a list that I will be updating in this guide. And yeah, till then, happy testing. Be sure to explore. Don't let any voices around you prevent you from testing a card that you think has a lot of potential. I probably have missed some on this. Again, some of those cards I think are conditional for a specific meta. And if that comes up, then you know me, I love to explore and I'm flexible as well. I don't try to block any ideas. I will make sure to update you guys with those decks. Other than that, I will see you guys on the next one. Thank Thank you for trusting me in this journey for your purple steel. I'll see you in the next one. Peace!